BC conservatives are very upset at Premier David Eby for doing something really smart. See, the Premier's office hired Charles Memers, a stand up comedian, to help write Eby's speeches, which makes sense. All politicians have speechwriters because presumably they should be focusing on a number of other things throughout their day, rather than spending hours stressing over how legacy media and new media will twist the words, I think puppies are great, into meaning that they're part of a secret cabal of puppy haters bent on destroying the nuclear family and forcing your daughter to get a short haircut that makes her wonder if she might be into girls. The comedian, who, believe it or not, is a person who should be fairly compensated for their work, is being paid $165 an hour, which sounds like a lot until you realize that for a really good comedian, they're only productive about an hour or two a day. Other than that, they tend to spend their time getting high or drunk, ruminating on the horrible traumas that made them funny, calling past romantic partners from an unknown number for a few seconds, and realizing that they made Christine miserable and they just can't do that to her again. And of course, entertaining an audience of one. CTV's article about the subject makes sure to point out that the comedian could make a maximum of 300,000 over 4 years, but takes a while to get to the point that in the last 3 years he's made less than 100 grand and has only been paid 14 grand this year. And you got to keep in mind, the guy presumably lives in BC where 14 grand is enough to pay for like half a month's rent. Keeping in mind, MLAs complaining about this comedian are going to make at least 119,000 this year, and they're not even reading the legislation that they vote against. It always boggles my mind how conservatives can always complain about teachers, flight attendants, postal workers, and comedians getting paid for doing jobs that serve the public. But they never bat an eye at a CEO rewarding themselves with a bonus for laying off working class people. They never complain about hiring gaggles of consultants to figure out ways to stick one person with three people's jobs. But you pay one comedian a reasonable wage for thoughtful writing, hey, that's a bridge too far, and it's going to take like 7 years to finish because the contract got given to a donor.